of Teacher Education Headquarters. This is Edu News. Your news, our business. I am Eliza Faye C. Dackett, your news anchor, to bring you the latest reports from school community and beyond. Together with me are my field reporters, Christian, Joanne, Ray, and Ruel. Come in.
Good day, Philippines. Good day, GRMSU. I am Christian Pedro Sanchez, Field Reporter 1. Your news is our business.
Good day, college, teacher education. I'm Joanna Marie Abi, Field Reporter 2. Your news, our business.
Good day, Davitan City. I'm Major Mark C. Dagpin, Field Reporter 3, and welcome to our special report. Reporting live from Jose Rizal Memorial State University, I'm a reporter here to examine the shift towards an authentic assessments and it's changing the face of our education. Your news, our business.
Everyone, I'm Ruel Bulay, Field Reporter 4. Your news, our business.
Here are the top news we're following today. Meaning of authentic assessment. Non-test assessment of learning. Authentic assessment complements traditional assessment. Designing a taxonomy of educational objectives. Non-test indicators. Transversal competencies. Features of authentic performance assessment. Characteristics of 21st century assessment. Characteristics of authentic assessment. Authentic assessment. Process-oriented or product-oriented. DepEd's emphasis on performance assessment. GRASP. Guidelines for performance assessment. Before we go to the field, let me have a report about our first headline, the meaning of authentic assessment. This topic has various descriptions from several authors. According to Miller in 2021, authentic assessment is a form of assessment in which students are asked to perform real-world tasks that demonstrate meaningful application of essential knowledge and skills. Wiggins, on the other hand, says it's engaging in worthy problems or questions of importance which students must use to fashion performance effectively and creatively. Overall, these authors have reference statements but has the same thoughts regarding authentic assessment, and that is to apply the skills and knowledge they have mastered. When comparing traditional assessment to authentic assessment, we can really see that method have shifted from knowing to showing. Traditional assessment's action option is selecting a response, but in authentic assessment, it is performing a task. This means that in traditional assessment, choosing the correct answer from a set of options is involved, so it is more a passive activity of recognizing or recalling information. On the other hand, performing a task means actively engaging in an activity that requires application of knowledge and skills. If traditional assessment setting is imagined, it is not that effective, since students cannot be able to fully understand a situation compared to authentic assessment, which is a simulation of real-life situation by actively engaging in it. The traditional assessment focus is on the teacher, while an authentic assessment is more on students. Teachers in traditional assessment is the primary source of knowledge, which focuses on delivering content to a form of passive learning. In the student-centered approach, the focus is shifted to the student's needs, abilities, and interests, and the teacher will just be the facilitator of learning. Overall, the combination of two is used to balance structured instruction with student-driven learning. And now, our newscasters will check on JRMSU to see how to prepare their students for the future with these cutting-edge approaches. For more details, let us have Christian Sanchez and Juan Abe for their report.
So, let us start with the different types of non-test assessments, where it's an alternative assessments in this that divert from the field and paper test. It measures the student's ability direct with real tasks. So, do not force the students to give their responses, but rather allow them to manifest their acquired knowledge and skills from the subject. That means others than writing tests. The portfolio is type non-test assessment, which goal is to showcases a student's progress, skills, achievements over time. It's a collection of works such as essay, projects, artwork, and reflection that demonstrate learning and growth. It allows students to apply their knowledge in real-world context, encouraging creativity, critical thinking, and self-reflection. It is commonly used in education, professional development, and the arts to access competencies beyond standardized exam. The second type is the teacher observation, where educators access students by directly observing their behaviors, skills, and performance in real time. These methods allow teachers to gather insight into a student's learning process, social interactions, and practical application of knowledge. Observation can be formal or informal and or often recorded using checklists, annotative notes, or rubrics. It provides a comprehensive understanding of a student's abilities beyond what traditional tests can measure. States or hand signals are a type of non-test assessments where students use physical gesture or white responses on small board to demonstrate understanding. These methods allow to quickly gauge comprehension, encouraging active participation, and provide immediately feedback. It is especially useful for checking students' engagement, assessing prior knowledge, and making learning more interactive without the pressure of formal testing. Daily assignment are non-test authentic assessment that involve regular tasks or activities given to the students to reinforcement learning and track progress. This assignment can include writing exercise, problem-solving tasks, reflection, or hands-on project. They help teachers assess understanding in a low-pressure environment, provide ongoing feedback, and encourage consistent engagement with the materials. A journal is a type of non-test authentic assessment where students regularly write reflection, thoughts, or responses about their learning experiences. It allows them to express their understanding, track progress, and develop critical thinking skills. Teachers use journals to assess comprehension, creativity, and personal growth in a less structured, more personalized ways compared to traditional tests. Modules are typed non-test authentic assessments where students create physical or conceptual representation of ideas, systems, or processes. This can include building models, diagrams, or prototype to demonstrate understanding. Through this hands-on approach, students apply their knowledge in tangible ways, allowing teachers to assess creativity, problem-solving, and the ability to synthesize information into a practical format. Notes are typed non-test authentic assessments where students take writing notes during lessons, readings, or discussions to capture case concepts and ideas. Teachers can assess how well students understand and organize information based on the quality and clarity of their notes. These methods encourage active listening, critical thinking, and retention of knowledge, offering insights into the student's learning process. But on the other side of the university, we have Juan Marie Abe to continue reporting the non-test assessment. Juan, come in.
Thank you, Christian. Now, let's continue the remaining non-test assessment.
Panel discussion is a type of non-test authentic assessment where students engage in a group discussion on a specific topic, often presenting different viewpoints or findings. It encourages critical thinking, collaboration, and effective communication. Teacher assess students based on their ability to articulate ideas, support arguments with evidence, and engage in meaningful dialogue, providing a real-world context for evaluating knowledge and skills. A demonstration is a type of non-test authentic assessment where students show their understanding by performing a task or skill in front of an audience, such as a solving problem, conducting an experiment, or using a tool. It allows teacher to assess practical application, problem-solving abilities, and the ability to explain or showcase knowledge in real time, providing a hands-on, interactive way to evaluate learning. Problem solving is a type of non-test authentic assessment where students are tasked with addressing real-world challenges or scenarios, applying their knowledge and skills to find solutions. This method emphasizes critical thinking, creativity, and analytical skills. Teachers assess how students approach problems, consider various solutions, and implement strategies, providing a deeper understanding of their practical abilities and learning progress. Discussion is a type of non-test authentic assessment where students engage in verbal exchanges to explore ideas, share perspectives, and deepen understanding of a topic. Teacher assess critical thinking, communication skills, and the ability to support arguments with evidence. Discussions allow students to demonstrate their grasp of concept in a collaborative, real-world setting, making it an interactive way to evaluate learning. In conclusion, the non-test assessment provided valuable insight into the individual skills, abilities, and areas for improvement. It highlighted strengths in an areas like problem solving, communication, and creativity while identifying opportunities for further development in time management and technical knowledge.
Thank you for that meaningful news, Christian and Joanne. Let us watch this exclusive report by Ray John Mark Dugpin on how authentic assessment complements traditional assessment.
Today, I had the opportunity to sit down with Mr. James Ramoga, an instructor of Jeremy Schumann Campus, to explore how blending both traditional and authentic assessment can enhance student learning. Good day, sir. So, my question is how authentic assessment complements traditional assessments?
So authentic assessments complement traditional assessment by providing a more comprehensive and practical evaluation of a student's learning, focusing on the real-world application, critical thinking, and problem-solving skills.
And boost students' outcomes. First, the cognitive system focuses on the mental processes involved in learning, such as memory, thinking, and problem solving. It explores how students acquire, retain, and apply knowledge effectively. Second, the self system, addressing the emotional and motivational factors. This system emphasizes students' beliefs, attitudes, and intrinsic motivation. These factors influence how students engage with learning tasks and shape their commitment to process. Lastly, the metacognitive system highlights the importance of self-reflection in learning. It includes self-regulation skills like planning, monitoring progress, and adjusting strategies to improve learning outcomes. This tree system, cognitive, self, and metacognitive, work together to create well-rounded, effective learning for students. By integrating this system into instructional practices, educators can foster deeper understanding, stronger motivation, and enhance self-directed learning skills. To add on Robert Marzano's critical system, let us have Ruel Bulay to report on designing a taxonomy of educational objectives.
The cognitive system processes all the necessary information and the knowledge which consists of information, mental procedure, and physical procedure. The metacognitive system set goals and keep track of how well these goals are being achieved, and the self-system decide whether to continue the current behavior or engage in new learning activity. The knowledge domain which basics authentic assessment is the subject assessed by traditional methods. Marzano state knowledge is a critical factor in thinking without insufficient information about the subject being learned. The other systems have very little work, which are unable to engineer the learning process successfully. Knowledge is the fuel that powers think process. Marzano identifies three categories of knowledge: information, mental procedure, and physical procedures. Information is what of knowledge, and procedures are the how to instructions. However, must move beyond accumulation and assessment of knowledge. Learner must be made to apply the knowledge learned. Unfortunately, however, instructions in traditional classroom rarely move beyond accumulation of knowledge that what, who, where, and when, leaving the learners what a mental file cabinet full of facts, most which were quickly forgotten after the final test. Philosopher Gilbert Ryle has the same line of thinking with Marzano. Ryle distinguished knowing how, technical ability, from knowing that, fact and the proposition, and knowing what, acquaintance with things and persons. Ryle assert that knowing that some is fact is empty intellectualism without knowing how to make use of a fact, effective position of a piece of knowledge. Involves knowing how to use that knowledge when required for the solution of a theoretical or practical problem. Workshop position of knowledge. For true learning, learners must not only have a museum passion of knowledge, but also a workshop position of knowledge. Even the 21 framework or 21st century skills has basic knowledge and skills. And the 21st century theme, awareness, financial, economic, business, and entrepreneurial literacy, civic literacy, health literacy, as the foundation for the 21st century skills, namely learning, innovation skills, information, media and technology skills, life and career skills.
And now we're back to the non-test assessment. The non-test indicators together with the transversal competencies that will be discussed by Mr. I, our AI friend.
Academic tests are typically relied upon to assess the performance of students in educational tasks. Since schools are charged with a major responsibility for preparing students to perform these tasks, academic tests are also used to evaluate whether and to what extent school programs have achieved their goals. The use of a single form of measurement, like pencil and paper tests, to monitor learner development, or the performance of educational programs, however, may be less reliable. Moreover, if cognitive development is the only intended effect of school programs that is emphasized, as it is done when academic tests alone are used to assess performance, many significant areas of development will be neglected. These other significant areas include career development, health and personal safety, interpersonal relations, civic development, ethical development, and so on. For these reasons, diverse kinds of feedback on a wide range of educational results are needed to ensure that the educational system is meeting the needs of both individuals and society. Schools ought to teach and assess learners not only cognitive skills, but also other skills for them to lead productive, successful, and fulfilled lives in the 21st century. Schools must therefore teach transversal competencies. These transversal competencies are much more than mere information, knowledge of mental and physical skills in the knowledge domain of Marzano's taxonomy. Transversal competencies are transferable between jobs, often called soft skills, emotional intelligence, or employability skills. They are not sector-specific, but rather a set of attitudes and procedures that cross over into any role, making individuals function better in any situation. Learning these competencies puts every graduate at an advantage. As Fish et al. Wrote in 2008, we are currently preparing students for jobs that don't yet exist, using technologies that haven't been invented to solve problems we don't even know are problems yet. These skills enable individuals to adapt to any challenge, making them essential for personal and professional development. Interpersonal skills involve the ability to communicate, work with others, and manage relationships effectively. They are crucial for both personal and professional success. Media and information literacy refers to the ability to access, analyze, evaluate, and use information effectively and ethically in the digital age. Global citizenship refers to an awareness of the world as an interconnected community and the responsibilities that come with it. Transversal competencies are essential in today's interconnected and digital world. Developing these skills can help individuals navigate various professional, social, and cultural contexts effectively.
Next up, we will have question for this report on the figures of authentic or performance assessment.
And emphasizes on doing open-ended activities for which is this no correct, objective answers and that may assess higher thinking. In many performance assessment, there is no correct objective answers unlike in a true-false test or a multiple choice test. For example, there's no one correct answer when a student comes up with a painting design a science project. Deliver I Have a Dreams of Martin Luther King, writes a research report, presents and defend the same before a panel. In a performance authentic assessment, students have a choice to construct their own responses. They may pose greater challenge for scoring for teacher and compare the scoring traditional assessment but may give opportunity for students to develop higher thinking skills. Direct method of evaluation authentic performance assessment used to direct methods such as judging demonstrate of advanced steps. Oral presentation to assess speaking rather than asking students to enumerate the dance steps in order to describe good oral presentation in a paper and pencil test. Direct methods of evaluation in authentic performance assessment focus on assessing students' actual demonstration of skills rather than their ability to recall facts on a writing test. These methods are hands-on, practical, and performance-based. For example, instead of writing down the steps of a dance, the students perform the routine which allows the teachers to assess techniques, rhythm, and expression, and instead of answering multiple choice question about public speaking, students deliver an oral presentation to evaluate fluency, pronunciation, and confidence. Other example of direct theory. Science, conducting an experiment rather than just describing the steps. Arts, creating and painting instead of answering questions about color theory. Music, playing an instrument rather than just writing about how to play it. So, this approach ensures that assessment is meaningful and reflect real-world application rather than just theoretical knowledge. Self-assessment and authentic performance assessment. Students may be given the opportunity to assess their performance with the use of scoring rubrics. Benefit of self-assessment and performance tasks. Encourages reflections. Students analyze their strengths and areas for improvement. Promote ownership. They take an active role in their learning process. Develop critical thinking. They learn to evaluate work based on specific criteria. Align with teacher feedback. It helps students understand how their performance is graded. Example of self-assessment in action. Oral presentation. Students use a rubrics to rate their criteria, pronunciation, confidence, and engagement. Dance performance. They assess their rhythm, coordination, and techniques before receiving teacher feedback. Writing tasks. They check their grammar, structure, and creativity against the rubrics before submission. Assessment by group performance as well as individual performance. Some performance authentic assessment evaluate how students perform individually and how they perform as a group. A group may be directed to come up with a capstone project. They may evaluate for the group's outputs and individually for the individual members' contributions. Assessment of both group and individual performance ensure a fair and comprehensive evaluation of students' contribution and authentic performance assessment. Why assess both group individual performance? Encourage collaborations. Students learn teamwork, leadership, and communication skills. Ensures accountability. Individual assessment prevent pre-reading recognize. Contribution. Evaluate each student's role in the project. Measure final output and process. Both the final product and the work leading up to assess. Ways to assess group and individual performance. Group assessment. Final product evaluation. Capstone project, presentation, and performance. Overall teamwork and cooperation. Creativity, innovation, and effectiveness. Individual assessment. Role and contribution. Was the student actively involved? Per evaluation, group member rate each other efforts. Self-assessment. Reflection on their own performance. Teacher's observation. Tracking participation and involvement. Example, capstone project, assessment group. Quality of the final project, teamwork, and execution. Individual. Contribution to research effort in discussion and task completion. Extended period of time for assessment in contrast to traditional assessment. Performance authentic assessment usually requires an extended period. In traditional assessment, a writing test may require an hour or less, but the completion of the research paper may require months and may be evaluated monthly to check on students' progress. Performance authentic assessment typically require an extended period of time for students to demonstrate deep understanding, skill application, and meaningful learning. Unlike traditional assessment, multiple choice tests complete in hour. These tasks unfold over days, weeks, or even months to follow for. Process-oriented learning focuses on skill development over time. Progress monitoring allows for feedback and revising before final submission. Complex task completion. Project research paper and performance need planning, execution, and refinement. Example of extended time assessment. Research paper requires topic selection, research drafting, revision, and final submission. Capstone project. A long-term project with periodic progress evaluation. Portfolio assessment. A collection of a student's work over a semester or academic year. Performance-based task. Learning a dance routine, preparing for a debate, or creating an art project over several weeks. How to track progress in long-term assessment. Regular checkpoint. Monthly evaluation, drops or presentation, scaffolding. Breaking the project into a smaller task with deadlines. Feedback loops. Teachers provide ongoing feedback to guide improvements. Self and peer assessment. Encourage reflection and collaboration learning.
Thank you for that information, question. Now let us dig deeper into the authentic assessment as a process and product-oriented. Joan, take it away.
Authentic assessment is performance assessment. The performance can be process-oriented or product-oriented. The learner is made either to demonstrate the skill or the process, learn or show the product of the application of learned knowledge and skills.
An example of a process-oriented assessment is demonstrating the skill of note reading or the skill of conducting the singing of the Philippine National Anthem in the music class. An example of a product-oriented assessment is a PowerPoint presentation, a position paper, or a poem composed. Authentic assessment demands genuine proof of transfer of learning in real-life situations. Some authors equate authentic assessments to performance assessment. Other terms for authentic assessments are alternative assessment, direct assessment, and non-traditional assessment. The term alternative implies that there is a mode of assessment other than usual traditional paper and pencil tests. Direct assessment means that the learner has to demonstrate concretely the knowledge and skill learned. Authentic assessment is also called non-traditional assessment, in contrast to the traditional paper and pencil tests that we have been used to. Process-oriented assessment learning outcomes in the form of procedural knowledge require demonstration of the process or procedure. They call for a process-oriented assessment. On the other hand, product-oriented assessment means students' performance may lead to concrete product. These students' products are the concern of products-oriented authentic assessment.
Ray, how was the news on the DepEd's emphasizes performance assessment?
Well, Eliza, how does the DepEd emphasize on the performance assessment? DepEd emphasizes performance assessment as a crucial component of a student evaluation. DepEd Order Number 8, 2015 outlined the three components of summative assessment: routine work, performance task, and quarterly assessment. Among these performance tasks carry the most weight, contributing 40% to 60% of a student's quarterly grade, both junior and senior high school. The quarterly assessment consists of objective test, performance-based assessment, or a combination of both. Performance task requires students to create or innovate products or perform real-world tasks. This may include skills demonstrations, group presentations, oral work, multimedia presentations, and research projects. Written output can also be considered a performance task. This approach aligns with expert perspectives on authentic assessment. Moeller 2011 defines authentic assessment as a process where students engage in a real-world task that require the application of essential knowledge and skills. Wiggins 1987 describes it is engaging in meaningful problems or questions where students must use their guidelines for performance assessment.
Authentic assessment are designed to evaluate the student's ability to apply what they learned in real-world context. Here are some key characteristics of authentic assessment. First, authenticity. Real-world relevance. Authentic assessment reflect real-world scenarios, challenge, and application. Second, contextualized assessment is set in the context, mirror real-life situations. So the next one, student-centered. First, encourage critical thinking. Authentic assessment promote critical thinking, problem-solving, and decision-making. Second, foster creativity. Assessment allows students to express their creativity, originality. Third, emphasize self-direct learning. Authentic assessment encourage students to take ownership on their learning and self-direct their efforts. Ongoing feedback. Regular feedback. Authentic assessment provide regular constructive feedback to students. Second, opportunities for revision. Assessment are allowed to students revise and improve their work based on feedback. Collaboration. First, encourage teamwork. Authentic assessments often involve teamwork, collaboration, and communication. Second, foster peer review. Assessment provide opportunities for peer review and feedback.
Authentic assessment provides a meaningful, real-world approach to evaluating students' knowledge and skills. Unlike traditional tests that focus on rote memorization, authentic assessment requires students to apply their learning in practical situations, such as performances, presentations, projects, and problem-solving tasks. By incorporating authentic assessments, educators foster critical thinking, creativity, collaboration, and real-world application, preparing students for lifelong learning and future challenges. This is Eliza Pay C. Duckett, serving the College of Teacher Education and the nation with dedication.
Doing my purpose with passion.
I'm Joanna Marie Abi, bringing latest information.
Region Mark Tagpin, serving you with a commitment.
This is Ruel Ulay, bringing you the news around the school community. Thank you for joining us today.